Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to test builds for Eidolon Hunt meme runs. So the first, simplest, most obvious way to do that is to just go out into the plains, go up to an Eidolon, and try your build out. And it happens to be nighttime on the plains of Eidolon, you can do that. So a Teralyst with no armor stripped has a similar effective HP as a Hydralist with its armor stripped using a Gunblade with Shattering Impact. So that would be the simplest way to do that, because it's a lot quicker and easier to spawn in a Teralyst than to spawn in a Hydralist. So to do that, you're going to want to not have corrosive projection in your Warframe build, and don't use your Gunblade to strip armor. And also, you're going to be running. You want to run Unairu Wisp to double your shield damage, because that'll just help you burn down the shield faster. And you want to not be running Matter Eye Void Strike, because that'll just artificially increase your damage, and you're going to be using Unairu ultimately with the weapon in the actual hunt. And so as you can see here, I'm using my 745, the Clamora Prism.
A massive sentient energy spike in your area. I advise you to be careful. Most devices draw energy from all beasts. Make use of them. Energy spike. I advise falling back.
And if it doesn't happen to be nighttime on the plains of Eidolon, then what you can do is you can play the last phase of the Saya's Vigil questline, because during that phase of the questline, it always is nighttime on the plains of Eidolon. It sort of opens up a special instance of the plains of Eidolon just for that mission, and a Teralyst will force spawn in the same spot every time. So this method is convenient in that you can do it at any time, regardless of whether or not it's nighttime on the plains of Eidolon currently, but it's not so great in that it doesn't spawn in any lures or Voms, and so it's like you break one limb and then the Eidolon teleports away. You have to find it, you have to kind of wait for it to finish spawning in, and break another limb, and you can only do kill, not a capture, and you don't get any loot from it ultimately, and then you can't really extract like you normally can from the plains. You just have to abort the mission and you get kicked back to your orbiter. And so that's all well and good, but fortunately there's kind of a more efficient way that doesn't require you to spawn in an Eidolon and burn down the shield and watch the whole animation as it screams and goes down and then comes back up and all of that. There's a way that you can test it in the Simulacrum, where you can just spawn in like 20 enemies at a time, and each of those enemies is a stand-in for an Eidolon Zenobia. So you want to come over here to Samaris, and you want to go into the Citadel Simulacrum. That's because the lighting in the Citadel Simulacrum is it's a lot better, it's a lot more clear as to what lighting you're standing in, and we're going to be testing Eclipse. So it's pretty obvious that when I'm in Shadow, I'm getting the damage reduction buff. When I'm not in a Shadow, I'm getting the the damage buff, and you get the full the full magnitude of the damage buff when you're in the light. So what you want to spawn in is you want to spawn in Drekar Manic Bombards, level 110. If you don't have the Drekar Manic Bombard unlocked yet, then what you do is you just equip Helios and you do that boss mission on Uranus that you go to farm the Equinox parts. If you do like about 3 runs, that should unlock this guy for you. And oops, accidentally deleted it. And so this guy at level 110 has a similar effective HP as a Teralyst Zenobia without any armor strip, which has a similar HP in turn to a Hydralist with the normal full amount of armor strip. So again, here you want to not be running corrosive projection, and yeah, you're not going to be stripping armor with a Gunblade or anything like that. So you just sort of grab your energy here, get your buffs up. And you want to make sure that you don't hit him in the head, because the Drekar Manic Bombard has a headshot damage multiplier if you hit him in the head, but the Zenobia obviously doesn't. So some weapons, such as the Kraken here, this is the regular Kraken, might need some additive crit chance in order to actually be effective. So this isn't really working out so well. So to simulate additive crit chance, like from a Harrow or something, you can use an Adarza. And now it does work well. Also, watch out for faction damage bonuses, like if you have a Riven especially, and it has any, like, you know, plus damage to Grineer or minus damage to Grineer. The Drekar Manic Bombards are in the Grineer faction, but again, in Eidolon, Zenobia isn't. So, yeah, do watch out for that. Also useful to note that you can spawn in lures and bombs in the Simulacrum. So lures will always spawn in at level 30 on the planes, and the bombs can spawn in on the planes up to level 30. So yeah, spawn them in level 30, and test that your build reliably one-shots the lures, and will reliably one-shot the bombs, especially relevant with Exodia Contagion. You can also test Gunblades, like for armor stripping in the Simulacrum. So like you can shoot your Gunblade at the wall and count the number of decals. Now there's some chance that 2 different shots will hit in about the same spot. Like it looks like maybe that's happened here. Looks like this is maybe 2. Sometimes that might be even a little bit closer than that, so you might want to shoot the ball like several different times. If you know, shoot the ball like, I don't know, 5 different times, you know, most likely one of those times that you shot the wall, you won't have any decals overlapping. But so that's useful to know how many Shattering Impact procs you should be landing on the enemy, because in some cases, like with the Sarpa and High Noon, like I have here, the number of shots that it spits out will actually vary depending on your attack speed. If you cast your 2 and shoot the wall, you won't get as many bullet decals as if you don't have your 2 active and shoot the wall. Let's see if this kills it. Does it? It did. It's like, yeah, I don't really want to go through that right now, but yeah, definitely attack speed can affect that. And so you can verify that your armor stripping is functioning correctly, you know, consistent with how you think it should. The Ambulus actually has the same base armor as the Hydralist, and the Mimic has the same base armor as the Teralyst. I actually am not aware of any enemy in the game at all that has the same base armor as the Gantalist, but these 2 at least are good stand-ins for you know, the Hydralist and the Teralyst, respectively. So, like, this is a Mimic, so this represents a Teralyst, so that should be 1 attack with the Vassalok, and then it's, I believe, 1 ground slam directly on the Mimic, and then if you do 1 ground slam nearby, that will inflict 1 single Shattering Impact proc, so I would expect this to full strip armor, and it doesn't! I guess it's actually a good thing that happened, so that you can see that sometimes a shot just misses, especially with the Mimic. I mean, there's this gap in its hitbox. It's kind of a little bit small and spindly. Let's hope that I had better luck this time. Also, if you do 2 ground slams nearby instead of 1 directly on it, that might be more consistent. Like if you try and do a ground slam directly onto the hitbox, maybe it doesn't quite register the direct hit of your blade. But if you do 2 nearby, that should be equivalent to 1 ground slam on it, then 1 more should full strip, and it does. So there you go. And this is an Ambulus, so this is representative of a Hydralist, so that would be 1 attack pressing E, and then it would be 3 ground slams directly on the Hydralist. Would be like a perfect strip, stripping the maximum amount of armor that you can without stripping all of it. So instead of doing 3 directly on, I'm going to do 6 on the ground nearby. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's not fully stripped. So now one more, and I would expect it to full strip. Here we go. And it's red. So there you go. So yeah, just a good way to verify that you've counted your pellets on the wall correctly, and that your armor stripping is actually doing what you think it's doing, and that if you do it on an Eidolon, that you should get the result that you want. So yeah, so you're looking for something that will get it to where it's not fully stripped, but then one more, ground slam near the enemy will then full strip. That's at that point you're just one shattering impact proc away from having all of the armor stripped. And then last but not least, there is the PoE, the calculator on poepoe.org. So this is a bit intense and a bit in-depth and really for the technically inclined, but it is a pretty precise tool, and it can really calculate down to the gnat's ass like exactly your probability of one-shotting. It's definitely, I'd say it's generally a much more precise method than testing on Drekar Manic Bombards. But yeah, it gets extremely detailed, and it's definitely not for everybody, but you can program in basically anything. You can tweak your power strength, so that would be like here. You can have it, use a vigilante set bonus. You can put in arcanes. You can add in abilities. You could add in maybe abilities that the VS squad is giving you using Helminth. You can add in multiple different weapons actually to compare between them. It'll show a graph here. So on the horizontal axis, it has the percentage basically. So okay, so these different steps kind of represent different possible amounts of damage that you could deal depending on your luck in terms of just how many bullets of multi-shot you get and how many crits you land, and whether your crits are upgraded with the vigilante set bonus and all of that. So if you hover over like here, it will give you the exact percentage point there. So you can see this is 33.39%. So what that means is that you have a 33.39% chance of doing as little damage as this. So the goal is the red dashed line here represents the enemy's health, in this case the Hydrolist. And so you want your horizontal line here to be above the red dashed horizontal line. But if this curve only dips down below, with a very small percentage, so if this bit of the horizontal line was just some amount below the health of the Eidolon, but if this percentage chance was like 0.1% or something, then maybe you don't really care about that. But so yeah, this is an extremely useful tool. See the link in the description of the video. But yeah, just an extremely useful tool, certainly in some cases. That's about it, guys. So that's basically everything that I know about how to test builds for Eidolon Hunt meme runs. There are still additional things that may kind of come up as a surprise even after you've pretty thoroughly tested a build. You may find you may get surprised by different fall off mechanics, or just some weird oddities of like hitboxes and splash damage, or maybe a weapon has some sort of weird gimmick or something. So the only way to really 100% know for sure is to actually try it in a hunt. But if you go through these sort of steps, then you should have set yourself up pretty well for success. It's always a good idea to have a backup weapon just in case the weapon that you thought would be great turns out to be an absolute utter shit show. But yeah, you should be set up pretty well for success if you kind of follow these sorts of steps. So hope you found it helpful. See you around. Good luck and have fun, guys. Bye.